Brad Williams, Frugal Finance. Here's a subject that pisses me off beyond word. Debt collectors, a scumbag debt collectors going after surviving spouses. This is pathetic. There are individuals who have zero integrity in the form of debt collecting. And I know, somebody has to do it, but no. Hopefully, after this video, you'll have a better understanding of your legal rights if you are a surviving spouse. Again, this is from the CFPB. They do great work because there are so many unethical practices out there that somebody had to step in terms of government oversight. But I don't know if this agency will be around for the next 4 years. Here we are to January 2025. But debt collectors that take advantage of surviving spouses and their vulnerabilities. The death of a spouse or partner can be one of life's most devastating and stressful experiences. Yeah, we all know that. For many people, losing a partner takes a significant financial and emotional toll. Spouses often sacrifice time, finances, and their own career to care for a partner in the period leading to their death. When their spouse passes away, a surviving spouse who is grieving their loss may find themselves overwhelmed with financial, administrative, and other obligations. Some states, and I don't know which ones, maybe detailed as we move through this. Some states have enacted laws and some state courts have held that surviving spouses are not personally responsible for their deceased partner's medical debt, and others limit the circumstances in which a surviving spouse is responsible. Keep that in mind. You, as a surviving spouse, need to know your rights. Where debt collectors try to capitalize on surviving spouses' vulnerabilities by attempting to collect their deceased spouse's unpaid medical bills without consideration of the specific facts and legal nuances that would be required to determine whether the bills are actually owed. These attempts to collect on these debts may therefore violate state and federal laws. Okay, so this gets pretty technical. Sadly, you may be forced to bring in an attorney and challenge anything that may be not subject to debt collection. In 2022, there were, look at this, 1.7 million adults in the U.S. who were widowed within the last 12 months. 2/3 of new surviving spouses are women, and their average age is 71 years old. These surviving spouses face an array of personal challenges. For instance, here's a crazy fact. 25% of new surviving spouses report experiencing depression. 41% report loneliness. Right down here. New surviving spouses' household debts are higher and incomes are lower. Only 1 in 4 surviving spouses report that they still work, compared to 36% 4 years earlier. Hence, that's why they call it retirement. You're 71 years old. Hopefully, you've socked enough away to live comfortably. You can look at the numbers here. Average household income, 60 grand. Household debt, 4 years earlier, 70 at widowed, 81 out of pocket. So you could see the stresses at widowhood. You can see right here, income, debt, then new debt, and then out of pocket expenses. Surviving spouses are especially likely to report having unpaid medical bills, and those bills are greater than those of the rest of the population. New surviving spouses with unpaid bills report an average of $28,749 in unpaid medical bills, compared to $15,785 among the rest of the population. We know right here that you're going to have this possible debt, and that's the focus here. Surviving spouses describe the impact. Well, guess what? It's going to be horrible. You're going to find that you and your spouse need to have all your ducks lined up beforehand, both male and female. You need to have all of this documented. In other words, you need to know how to deal with this stuff. My wife died of a heart condition at some hospital. I signed no paperwork on the days of her hospitalization. Since then, no one has reached out to me for payment, including a hospital or doctors. However, Colorado has been hitting me with numerous small bills, 13 so far, totaling some money. As each has gone unpaid, my attorney said, do not pay unless you're prepared to shoulder all the previous bills. Interesting, huh? They have referred the collection to this particular group. I have spoken with them on numerous occasions and informed them, chapter and verse, regarding Colorado law that they don't, they did something about, here's the California law, but they said they don't care and continue ruining my credit. At the time this started, my credit was 780, went as low as 550, all due to them, and is slowly back to 680 with almost no debt. I have reached out to the reporting agencies on numerous occasions, but no joy. Look at this. This is how pathetic this operation is, the policy, this format. So now the friggin' debt collectors have more control than you as an individual. It's pathetic. My husband passed away. It took nearly everything. We were foreclosed upon, and thankfully somebody helped us out and saved our home. In the process, though, our interest rate was elevated to nearly 10%. My husband died years ago and I desperately tried to refinance, qualify for other financial programs to no avail. My credit was destroyed by delinquencies related to medical bills, medical treatment, bills going unpaid, so on and so forth. Okay, my spouse passed away. I received a bill for the medical charges I sent a note back saying he was deceased. I received another bill and I sent a copy to the death certificate. I received a letter, debt collector, to collect and is an attempt to collect the debt, and any information obtained will be used for that purpose. I will be blank years and old and fixed on Am I responsible since they do not accept the fact that he died and see his death certificate? What can I do? Will this affect? The CFP recently proposed a rule to ban medical bills from credit report. All right, here we are, January 2025, and a couple weeks ago, the outgoing president signed a bill that says this cannot happen any longer. They can ban medical bills, so hopefully that might help. Collectors seeking payment from surviving spouses, sometimes without checking the facts. Despite the proposed changes to credit reporting, the CFPB remains concerned that debt collectors may mislead surviving spouses into paying their deceased spouse debts when they are not legally required to do so. In consumer complaints and listening sessions with legal aid and elder law attorneys around the country, the CFPB has heard that surviving spouses have been subject to payment demands and endured litigation because debt collectors demanded payment for their deceased spouse's medical debts when they may not have been required to do so. If a spouse dies, their estate is usually responsible for paying any remaining bills. The survivor is generally not personally responsible for that debt unless it's a debt the survivor has agreed to, or the survivor is responsible under a state common law doctrine of legislation. Now we're getting in some technical stuff, so you, as the survivor, now you know what the process is. The historical purpose of the common law doctrine was to ensure that married women were able to purchase necessities on their husband's credit when their husband refused to provide them or their children with food, clothing, and medical care that they could otherwise afford. By contrast, the doctrine is sometimes used today to hold surviving spouses personally responsible for the deceased spouse's medical bills. Some state courts have determined that doctrine of necessaries is outdated, that it is at best left to state legislature to identify the specific ways. All right, now you can see where you are just the token in this whole thing. Some state laws make clear that surviving spouses do not personally owe their deceased partner's medical bills unless they agree to pay the debt when it was incurred. For example, Minnesota recently passed a law indicating that a spouse is not automatically liable for the medical debts of their spouse. Other states may hold surviving spouses personally responsible for paying some medical bills, but only in specific circumstances, such as where the surviving spouse has the ability to repay. However, it appears that some debt collectors may assert their surviving spouses owe medical bills without considering the specific facts and circumstance or nuances of the law that may affect the spouse's legal right. The Fair Debt Collection Practice and its implementing regulations, misrepresentation from debt collectors. I could put this in PowerPoint and say, let's just go down this slide by slide. I don't like reading this verbatim. I think it's important for you to get a factual information instead of interjecting more than I generally do. Here are the requirements. You, as the survivor, need to understand the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. The CFPB also shows that the medical billing and collection system is just a friggin' nightmare. And I have said this over and over again. TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax are just absolutely crap. They're the reporting agencies for all of this stuff, and they're crap. They've always been crap. They'll continue to be crap. And you, as the consumer, have to end up cleaning up the crap. These three agencies take absolutely no responsibility, and it's up to you to go through and verify whether their reporting is correct. That's why credit reports are free, but it's up to you to take your valuable time to clean up their crap. I can't stand these agencies, think they're pathetic, but what's the alternative? Is there a solution? Well, why don't we use AI? Because AI is supposed to solve everything. Am I a little cynical? No, I'm a realist. I'm just fed up with this stuff. I'm just fed up with the incompetence, and it's all for one purpose: greed, money. 4 tips to help surviving spouses facing medical bills learn more and take action. When a loved one dies and debt collectors come calling, surviving spouses should not assume they have to pay. Read our advisory for tips on dealing with debt collectors. This article will be linked below. Some nursing homes attempt to make caregivers personally guarantee payment of a resident's bill as a condition of admission. Wow. This is generally illegal. Learn about caregivers' rights when dealing with nursing home debt. People who have debt in collection or have been sued by a debt collector can find a reputable lawyer to advise or represent them. Here are some ways to find a consumer lawyer. Isn't that pathetic? Look, you're low income. Can you afford an attorney? Really? People who have experienced problems with debt collectors or credit reporting agencies can submit a complaint to the CFPB. Brad Williams, Frugal Finance. Thanks for watching. Hope that helped. See you soon.